Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us this morning. If you're watching us live, thanks for that. If you are listening or watching later, we appreciate that as well. Please remember that we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. You can check them out there. There is a special section for morning shows. We have audio and video versions there. Your traffic this morning, you're looking at delays on I-12 westbound from O'Neill back to around Pete's Highway. Not too bad this morning, just kind of some intermittent delays as you get to work. Folks are still filing out of those large high school areas, including Denham, Walker, and Live Oak. You're looking at your weather is 33 degrees, so right on the cusp of freezing. It got a little colder last night than anticipated. 64 degrees is your high. 48 your overnight low. Gonna slowly but steadily warm up over the next couple of days. Melanie Curtin, who was the most recent arrest in the Dennis and Cynthia Perkins case, had a $350,000 bond placed on her by Judge Jeffrey Johnson, as well as a stipulation that should she make bond, she will have to wear a GPS unit. Well, she made bond just yesterday. She is out and about. She will still have to, the GPS means that she has to stay here. She just got to go home. She will still have to come back and appear in court. The school board met last night. They had two items on the agenda. There was a late addendum so that they could talk about the Morningside at Juban Lakes, which of course is the same development that was discussed by the parish council. The parish council ended up sending a resolution to the East Baton Rouge Parish Metro Council as well as the parish board, saying that they did not want CAFA, which is the Capital Area Finance Authority, to grant that development a property tax exemption. Through some state law, special developments are able to go through CAFA to get a property tax exemption, and it is granted through the East Baton Rouge Parish Board. The school board has joined in with the parish council by putting together their own resolution and sending it to the EBR council, also stating that they vehemently disagree with being able to give that property tax exemption to a property in their parish, and they are not for it at all. So not only do they disagree with the process, but they don't want to give that property tax exemption at all. So the school board put together that resolution. That'll be fired off to the EBR Metro Council. I believe that council meets next week. They also refinanced their bonds. There was $24 million in bonds that were taken out to build the new Live Oak High School. They have refinanced those, gotten a better interest rate, going to make it cheaper over the long haul. Parish Council met last night as well. It was one of those meetings that kind of went on for a while, a lot of things going on. But it started off with a very quick vote for chairman and co-chair. Mr. Shane Mack of District 9 will remain chairman. Mr. Gary Frog Talbert of District 2 will be co-chair. Also something that changed last night. Usually parish council meetings began at 6 p.m. in the evening with committee meetings coming before. I'm so sorry. Used to begin at 6:30 with committee meetings coming before. That has been moved last night to 6 p.m. So parish council meetings from here on out will begin at 6 p.m. unless otherwise stated at the Livingston Parish Council chambers. There was, like we said, there was a lot going on last night. One of the initial things that came up that was sort of moved up to the top was sewer issues that were being inspected, told that they were okay, and then an inspector coming back less than a year later and saying, no, they're not okay, they need to be completely replaced, which it can be in modern times, especially if you're not tying into a already established sewer system. Individual systems, especially for places like restaurants that'll process a lot of sewer, you're looking at $50,000 to $60,000. There were some complaints that were issued to a few parish councilmen, and the parish president brought it up last night. The parish council is going to go through the Department of Health and Hospitals to see if there's some sort of new policy. This all began because certain landlords in Livingston Parish were having trouble because tenants would continue to flow through their property, and every time they did, it always seemed like they had to recertify. So they're trying to figure out a couple of issues that are there with the process of getting sewer certified, keeping it certified, as well as if there's some sort of new regulation that's come down from the state level regarding sewer installment. There was also some discussion about the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Mr. Gary Frog Talbert and Mr. Scooter Keene, who are Districts 2 and 3 respectively, brought up that they would like to have board members on that board. It's a 9-member board. Currently, they do not. Now, Mr. Talbert brought up that he has tiki tubing and his own park system in his district. He also brought up that Mr. Keene has North Park as well as the new golf course that goes with North Park in his district. And so they were both very interested in getting members on that board. That will take state-level legislative action to expand that board to 9 members, but the council seemed to be all for it. Mr. Eric Edwards came and appeared. He is the director of the CVB, and said that if they wanted to expand the board, he understood why, and he was all for it. But he reminded them that it did take legislative action, and he wasn't sure if there were population requirements per seat. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Next, Mr. Mark Harrell appeared. Unfortunately, he did not have quotes for home inspections. We've talked a lot about the 4,000 homes that were stressed by FEMA. According to Mark Harrell, they've dropped that number down to closer to 3,000. However, they're still going to have to inspect those homes. Mr. Harrell did not have quotes for contractors yet. He believes that it's going to be about $100 per home. He wanted the parish council to go ahead and give him the authority to sign a contract should they bid out and finally get some bids and some quotes to do the work. The parish council kind of pushed back and said, we'd like to see the numbers first. Mark Harrell said that it was a time-sensitive matter, but that he understood and he would come back with quotes at the next parish council meeting. Now, they met early this month because of the Police Jury Association. They will come back and meet again on February 27th. Mr. Harrell said he would have quotes by then and would ask for them to call a special meeting if they had to be able to vote in those contracts to go ahead and get those inspections started. If you're not familiar with that situation, those inspections would be required in special flood hazard areas, or SFHAs. Glad I took my time with that. Those are areas that are usually repetitive loss, which means they've flooded one or more times in a 3-year period, or actually has to be more than once in a 3-year period. And they might be required to be elevated. It's going to require an inspection to determine substantial damage. So that is coming up as soon as they can get those contracts rolling and those people out and about and checking things out. The Ordinance Committee and Finance Committee were filled out last night. I don't have those rosters off the top of my hand, but Mr. Jeff Ard from District 1 is chairing the Finance Committee, and Mr. Shane Mack of District 9 will be chairing the Ordinance Committee. So we'll be getting an idea of what those two gentlemen are looking to do this year. That sewer issue that we discussed earlier was pushed to Ordinance Committee, so they'll be discussing that over time. Of course, Mr. Randy DeLatte, who brought the issue up from District 8, said he didn't want it to languish in Ordinance Committee for a year, so they're going to try to push that forward and push it together. There also was some discrepancy in terms of a ingress and egress. As you know, the parish council passed an ordinance that required 2 exits from a subdivision over a certain size. Nickens Lake, which has been designated as the next spot for a Denham Springs High School, a second one, not a replacement, currently has a large 4-lane boulevard entering and exiting. They figured that the parish council passed the approval of Nickens Lake getting a third filing because they said that the fourth lane, or the third and fourth lane, act as that second means of ingress. The whole purpose was to keep traffic flowing in and out of a subdivision and also make it available for first responders should there be heavy traffic. Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse, who first brought up that ordinance because he had trouble with that on some smaller roads in his District 7, voted against that because he said, I mean, the ordinance was there for a reason. He didn't think it needed a waiver. They needed to find another exit. It still passed 8-1. Moving out of news into sports. Big game tonight. Walker plays Scotlandville. Please remember we did a podcast with head coach Anthony Skiro just last week, talking about they got that big win over U-High on Wednesday, looking to kick off district with a big win at home against Scotlandville tonight. 7 p.m. at the Walker Gym. If you want to watch that podcast or listen to it, of course, you can go to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. Mr. Todd Wall, who was a volunteer coach and was the head coach of the Walker High School soccer team, has stepped down. He has gotten too busy with his full-time job, isn't able to dedicate enough time to the coaching position, believes that it should go to somebody else. that is able to give it more time and the time it requires to make sure that the team has a chance for success. So Coach Mr. St. Pierre, Principal St. Pierre, Coach Steve Johnson, who is the athletic director at Walker, are going to be looking for a replacement soccer coach. There's also a ton of scores online. Please go check them out. www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. Oak Point Fresh Market in Watson donated $7,100 to Child Advocacy Services. This is something they do yearly. It was a big donation, a big check. Child Advocacy Services is trying to help those children who might be in endangered situations within the home, trying to make sure that they have representation at family court or that they have the proper care that they need, or even if they just have somebody to talk to. Trying to make sure that if these kids do indeed need to be either in foster care or go through the court system, that they have somebody that can represent them outside, that can be there as a voice for the child. It's a busy weekend. I have a lot of notes here about what's going on this weekend. I was going to try to blurt it all out. There's a lot going on. It's going to be a great weekend, especially for the arts. At the Arts Council this Saturday, there's going to be a sort of reception from 11 to 2 that'll be talking about a new book. It's a coffee table style book that's filled with original Livingston Parish art. It's only $30. You can go purchase it if you'd like. Also, they'll have authors at the Livingston Parish Arts Council building, which is on Hummel Street in Denham Springs. It's behind the Denham Springs City Hall. You can go in there. There'll be artists in there. You can get it signed. You can mill about. There'll be hors d'oeuvres, a little alcohol, not much, mostly punch. So heavy hors d'oeuvres, punch, and if you are of age, a little alcohol. Again, that'll be from 11 to 2 at the Arts Council building. Going on at about 2, going forward, is the Mardi Gras Parade for City of Denham Springs. It's hosted by Kiwanis. So that'll be rolling out of, it's hosted by the crew of Denham Springs. And it'll be rolling out of Denham Springs High School and rolling down range, going up south, not up south, going down south from the school, downrange through the Antique District. Now, there's also another parade going on, 2 actually, both water-based. One will be the Crew of Diversion, the other the Crew of Tickfall. Crew of Diversion donates a lot of their proceeds to St. Jude, trying to bring awareness to that. That is the child cancer hospital. So you've got a lot of options this weekend if you're looking for Mardi Gras. You've got the Crew of Tickfall, the Crew of Diversion, and of course the Crew of Denham Springs rolling out of the Denham Springs High School. Looking for those times, please go check out www.livingstonparishnews.com/living, or you can go check out our calendar, www.livingstonparishnews.com/calendar. One last time with your traffic, of course, you're looking at delays starting at O'Neill back to about 4-H Club Road, the Range Avenue exit. Just sort of slow going as everybody moves into Baton Rouge for work today. Minor delays in and around the big high schools. Minor delays on 64 with some heavier delays on Greenville Springs if you take a left there. Of course, it is 33 degrees, as we mentioned. It kind of got close to freezing. 64 is your high today. 48 degrees your overnight low. So this is about as cold as it's going to get. We're going to have a steady warming trend over the next few days. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Please remember we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print. We are also online. Mention the URL a lot, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We also have an app to go with that. Hope you stay warm on this Friday. Hope you enjoy the Mardi Gras festivities over the weekend. And we will be back in the booth Monday morning to catch you up on what happened this weekend. Have a great day.